Victorian era had its hardships. To name a few, there was poor housing, poverty, ill health, long hours of hard labor. Sound familiar? I'm joking. Or am I? Anyway, low mortality rate in children and unsafe working conditions. And I shouldn't forget to mention being buried alive. This was deemed a common issue in the Victorian era. So the topic I'm touching on is premature burial. Terrifying yet interesting that this was an ongoing problem. Premature burial was common in the 18th and 19th century, mostly in Europe. Some records for these unfortunate souls were documented in William Tebb's book published in 1896 called Premature Burial and How It May Be Prevented. Okay, so check this out. I'm going to cover some of the records and then the device that was patented to save you once you were awake under the dirt. Mr. Tebb found 219 documented cases of near-miss premature burials, as in, oh, so you are alive. That was close, sorry about that. He discovered 149 actual premature burials. That's insane to me. 149 people who woke up underground stuck. Your family is coping with the not-so-real fact that you're gone, at least yet, and your fate was dealt a bad hand. Also to note, in Tebb's documents were 10 dissections on people still alive, and 2 cases of premature embalming. With that said, these are only the numbers of cases that were verified and recorded. The number in total is unknown, as not every voice that awakened underground had been heard or exhumed. One of the earliest accounts of an alleged accidental premature burial is of a monk and author named Thomas Kempis of Germany. Famous for his book, The Imitation of Christ, in 1471, Kempis was on the path to becoming a saint. However, believed to be dead at the age of 92, he was of course buried. After 200 years passed, there was an exhumation of Thomas Kempis. What they discovered was scratching from the inside of his coffin and wooden splinters underneath his fingernails. The next one I will mention is Octavia Hatcher in Kentucky of the United States in 1891. Hatcher had lost her baby son and became depressed, and shortly after she slipped into a coma, she was pronounced dead days later. The eerie part is a mosquito or tsetse fly was actually to blame for this. Shortly after her burial, other townsfolk were falling into comas too. It was May, the weather was hot, and the townspeople's comas only lasted a couple days. The husband of Octavia rushed to have his wife's body exhumated. When her coffin was open, his worst fears had struck him. Octavia had woke back up when it was too late and nobody knew. Desperately trying to scratch her way out, she was unfortunately unsuccessful. Her body was reburied next to her son with a life-size monument above her grave. This is the third and last incident I'll be sharing. It is documented that a woman by the name of Alice Blunden was buried alive. As the story goes, she was so knocked out after having imbibed a large quantity of poppy tea, for whatever reason, that a doctor holding a mirror to her nose and mouth pronounced her dead. Tea made from dried, unwashed seed pods would have contained morphine and codeine, which are sedatives. Her family quickly made arrangements for her burial. But 2 days after she was laid in the ground, children playing near a grave heard noises. Their schoolmaster went to check the gravesite for himself. He found that Blunden was still alive, but it took another day to exhume her. She was so close to death that she was returned to her grave, where a guard stood by before deserting his post. The next morning, she was found dead, but only after struggling to free herself once more. I can't make this stuff up. The last example was directly from the Smithsonian archive. Now, let's talk about the method that was patented to get victims out from being 6 feet under. Johann Tayburger invented the cemetery safety bell and had it patented. This device was meant to save you in the event that you are buried alive. It works by having a rope in your coffin attached to your hands and your feet. On the other end of the rope, it is ran up to the ground and attached to a bell sitting next to your headstone. Sounds good so far, right? Say you're buried, and now you wake up. You are moving around, and the rope is pulling on the bell above. Here comes the watchman to save your life. Sadly, it ends there. It was a nice attempt, but it's with regret that I've discovered there are no records of anyone being saved by the bell. There has been false alarm attempts, chalked up to windy weather conditions, animals tripping the bell, and some say even the gases of a corpse moving could have triggered false bells. There are records for false bell rescue attempts, though. In conclusion, if it brings any light to the story, at least we don't live in the Victorian era anymore. Rest assured, we may rest in peace. Thanks for listening. As always, if you like my stories, like and subscribe. It means a lot to see support and helps my channel. I'll be back soon. Take care.